Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Robert Prash, the king of comebacks with two Ks at the end, and this is Creating Greatness Podcast. And you know how we do here on Creating Greatness Podcast. We like to get right to the drop, right to work. I'm going to do a flashback here to the Everyday Excellence series. If you haven't checked out the Everyday Excellence series, please do. I did it about a year back before I created the Championship Mindset Talks. It was definitely some of my best work where I literally laid forth a blueprint on how to succeed, at least some generalizations because it was success on my terms in my life, but definitely some good and valuable information there as far as how to maintain a harmonious home, how to maneuver yourself effectively within the workplace, and how to beast out in the gym. But, I didn't have it all together. I'm still putting pieces together. And that's what I encourage all of you to do is put together that recipe within your own life. And I was challenged. I was doing the talks on the Championship Mindset and the Everyday Excellence series on a different app. And I got asked, do you ever relax? Do you even know how to relax? And I didn't have an answer for that gentleman. Uh, but instead of getting upset, instead of getting angry because someone challenged me, someone tested what I believed, I thought about it. I thought about it long and hard, so much so that I've cultivated this ultimate evening edition in a flashback to the Everyday Excellence series. And it took me months and months and months to do it. And then it took me another week or two to record it because I really was just getting my thoughts together. Okay, what are you doing? How do you do it? How do you successfully detox and de-stress from this chaotic existence, and one where you push very hard? You speak about pushing hard every single week on Creating Greatness Podcast. So I put a lot of thought into it. I took a lot of time and energy to create this episode. And my prayer is that you find something within it that can help you. I also just talked about this on Facebook Live. If you're not following me on Facebook, please do. Robert Michael Prash Jr., King of Comebacks with two Ks. But I talked about how you don't have to agree with everything that everyone says. There are people that I follow, Andrew Tate, Sadhguru, Mrs. Barbara O'Neill, and others, Jordan Peters, David Goggins, the list just goes on and on and on. The laundry list of people that I follow to help me, be motivated, inspired, and encouraged. I don't agree with anything. I don't agree with everything that any of them say. Out of every 10 videos I listen to, at least one time, those folks are going to say something that I just do not resonate with, that I just do not vibe with. It doesn't mean that I throw the whole thing out. And that's what I ask people to do with me, because I do understand that I get pigeonholed into my own way of thinking, my own way of doing things. An excuse would be I live a very solitary life other than my family. But I want you to take what you can use, throw away what you can't. And then even the things that you can use, I also would like to ask you to tweak them as you experiment, because it's something else that I just talked about. The way that we learn our recipe, the way that we develop these systems within our own life is by experimentation. It's like right now, I'm diligently working on getting my diet right, maintaining the utmost energy at all times when I need it to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it with the utmost energy, without supplements and energy drinks and all these things, because those things damage my stomach. So it's taken me some pain and stress and failures, but through the experimentation with my diet, I'm really truly starting to dial in on what I need to be eating, when I need to be eating it, how I need to be eating it, which is appreciative, understanding what it took for it to get there. And I've been starting my fast early. We're going to talk about that. So let's get to the Everyday Excellence series, flashback edition: intensity, vision, and strength. That is what the Everyday Excellence series is all about: living our life with intensity, having a clear vision, having a strong purpose and strength. We just don't mean physical strength, although we do mean that. Let's not minimize the importance of being physically strong, but also mentally strong, spiritually strong, emotionally strong. That's why we train. That's why we challenge ourselves, because when things go awry within our lives, our body and our minds and our spirits will react to the challenging situations that we've been through, whether it be meditation, hard workouts, long hikes, out in the elements, vigorous, rigorous prayer, meditation. And when things get chaotic in the world, all those things we've done in our time, our calm time, will really come into play, and we will exceed the performance of others who have not done this training, and we will, the cream will rise to the top. So intensity, vision, and strength. Take it back to the old episodes, Everyday Excellence series. If you didn't get the rest, check it out. Here goes Ultimate Evenings. We talked about putting together the recipe. So now, as we're moving towards the end of the day, I did the official morning routine that takes you to about 11 a.m. We did work at home and the gym. It's going to take you through the midday. So now we're going into the evening hours, 4 or 5 p.m. You have to realize when you get to those times in the day that you cannot do it all in one day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Speaking of Rome, man, some very interesting things on a show called Barbarians, showing how Romans conquered all these different territories and the awful, terrible tactics that they used to do so. But I'm not going to get too far into that, but it's very interesting, and we're going to talk about it more with Tony Spencer. So we can't do it all in one day. Rome wasn't built in a day. You weren't getting jacked in a day. You weren't losing all the weight in a day. You weren't becoming a millionaire in a day. So it's breaking down all those things, making the small steps, using your sense of discernment, your discernment. What is really important right now in this moment? Make a list, make a plan, so you know where you're ending. You know where your ending point is, because you can't do it all in one day. And if you try to, you end up burning yourself out. So it's like, this is the amount of stuff that's going to get done, and whatever's left on the table, man, it's going over to the next day. Maybe it gets prioritized the next day, but at the same time, we have to use this discernment to figure out what's important, what's truly important in our lives, prioritize that, what's left, and do it in that fashion. And then also always remain open to that filter of like, okay, this is really what's most important, but it can't be done now. Then what can be done now? Because that'll shave off seconds, shave off time later accomplishing those tasks. So something I realized as I really progressed in this self-improvement game, as I went years and years and years into this, I would start off great because I had a plan. We talked about having a plan the night before. Okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to work out. I'm going to, do this. I'm going to do that. And I would do those things. But somewhere along the day, around 2 or 3, when I was really done everything that I had set out to do that day, and I would start to get a little loose, man. And I think that people could relate to this in a different way, because a lot of people are off work, they're off to see different family, their life's very different than mine. But I think that, let's say you wake up, you have a reasonable breakfast, a reasonable amount of caffeine or juice, whatever. You're active, then you work, you do a good work day, you get that done, but then you leave work. Maybe you'll stop at a convenience store on the way home. You grab, I'm thinking about New Jersey here. So I'm thinking Wawa, tasty cake, soft drink. But you fill in those goodies with your specific geographic region. I'm grateful that we have Wawa here in Florida. I would have missed it leaving New Jersey. But so I would do that. And so now I'm just leaving work and now I'm doing this. And then maybe I get home and I'm tired from work. So I sit and I just watch TV and I veg out for an hour. And then maybe the wife comes home and she makes a big dinner at 6, 7 o'clock at night. And then maybe I'll be having dessert on top of that. Now we're talking 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm eating something sweet. And man, it took me a long time to make the connection that that is really messing you up, man. In the morning. That's why you have to wake right up and slam an energy drink and do all these things just to get moving, because your body is so bogged down from, even if it was healthy food and a healthy-ish dessert, it was still just the lateness of it, man. Going to sleep on an empty stomach is not beneficial. I learned that from Sadhguru, and it's taught in the yogic lifestyle. But I experimented with it once again, because there's many things that he says that I do not agree with, just like all those other folks. I love him, though, and revere him. So I'm not minimizing his role in my life, but I do not agree with everything he says, like all those other people. But that's one of the things that I experimented with. Learned that it was to be beneficial in my life, and continued on with it. So it's gotten a little different because I've now started eating dinner at 3:30. and beginning my fast at 4 p.m. and fast until 8 a.m. So 16 hours a day. I try to push for 18 hours some days. I don't always make it, but I'm solid at 14 and mostly 16 hours. But the main theme in all those explanations that I just given you of experimentation and figuring these things out is that I didn't finish strong. I started off good, prayer, meditation, exercise, and then somewhere along the day, I lost it. I lost the discipline. I lost the plan. I lost the structure. And we tend to take that stuff overboard. And if we really pay attention, I think you'll find that it is really truly affecting you that next day. And if you sacrifice it, it's tough. It is tough. Diet is tough for me, man. You're talking about a person who quit IV drugs, quit addictions to gambling and all sorts of different things, any vice you can think of. I beat it all. Food was very, very difficult for me. In fact, it took a little bit of pain as a lesson within my stomach, continuing experiencing pain. And this is what I would like to say about pain is that we don't want pain. We don't want to experience pain. We don't want to feel pain. But if pain wasn't a thing, we would not be as successful as we are because we wouldn't know not to do certain things. Even when it comes down to simple injury, like, oh man, maybe not try that again. Or maybe if I try it, I'm going to do it a little differently. So pain can definitely be it's just a lesson within our life. It's been said many times, Saginaw, Bruce Lee, many in between and afterwards. And I've said it multiple times because it just becomes so true in my life. And it's always the most difficult lessons. It's always the things that you just want to hold on to. You enjoy them so much. It brings you joy. And you think, why do I have to sacrifice these things? But I'm going to tell you how it is coming out on the other side of that frustration, of that, no, why? I love chocolate. For me, it was, I love caffeine. Why do I have to quit? I really enjoy it. It's something in life that it's part of what I love about life. Why? But it's really just your body, your spirit, and your soul telling you because it's not to the utmost benefit to you and your family and your loved ones. And so it took me a period of going through pain because I got to be fair. I got to be real. I could not cultivate the discipline. If I wouldn't have experienced the pain, I liked it too much. The caffeine. The other stuff I didn't like enough. It was destroying my life. Caffeine did not do that. So, but experienced the pain. I went through it. And on the other side, man, I feel so much better. I'm bursting with energy right now in the middle of the day. Very little caffeine, about 50 milligrams this morning, mixed with a little lion's mane mushroom, which is my favorite because the lion's mane mushroom with the caffeine really gets you going, get you focused. So finish strong. Understand that the sacrifice will be worth it. It just takes time. It may take a few days, a few weeks for you to realize it, but hold on to that idea strong because that's what's going to get you through. So part of the reason why I was not very successful with relaxation was because I worked so hard on the days that I was focusing on gym and all these different things that we spoke about. But when I would take a day off, because we all want a day off, whether we work 5 days a week, or 6 days a week, some of us 7 days a week, we work out in the gym 5, 6 days. Some people hold on to that mentality, no days off, whether it's their hustle, their side hustle, their grind, their gym, their work. Whatever it is, no days off. And I very much operated on a different philosophy. It was like, okay, I'm going to put in this work 5, 6 days a week. So on 1 or 2 days a week, I can really just. But what happened is, and I want to relate this to other people and their cheat days, cheat meals, days off. Do you take it overboard? Do you take it overboard? Because on my days off at work or working out, I would sit and watch Netflix. I would eat terrible food. I would do very little activity. And once again, like we go back to the eating late at night. The next day, I had to take off again because I was exhausted from my day off. So now I put together a formula of relaxation to where we're actually resting, rejuvenating, and resetting. Not just resting unconsciously, staring at a screen, putting things, eating chips, whatever. And I'm not judging anyone. I'm talking about myself. This is what I used to do on my days off. And I felt pretty good about it, And because I was working so hard those other days. But once again, I started realizing you're wasting days of your very short life. Well, pray it's not very short. I mean, short in the scope of the universe. 100 years or less is short. And you're wasting days. These, we talked about it last episode or a couple episodes ago. 1 day a week, that's 52 days a month or a year that you're wasting. You're sitting around watching Netflix. What value did you get out of those days of your life or anyone? Did you do anything good for anyone on those days? So you waste a day. And then at the end of the day, you don't even feel rested. The next day, you feel worse. So then you're wasting another day. Now you're up to over 100 days a year where you were not at your best. But if you put together your recipe, you could be at your best almost every day. So what I started doing instead of lesser days off, first of all, I think it's important to do a lesser day or a day off because day to day when you're putting in the work, you're absolutely within the trenches. You're totally involved in your everyday problems, your everyday activities, and solving those sometimes smaller issues within your life. But taking the day off, having the day of lesser activity gives you a chance to have that bird's eye view, that managerial view where you get out of the trenches. You can sit back from the window and look at your life as it's playing out. Think about all the things and see it from a bigger picture. Even doing that practice where you go, okay, well, how does this relate on a scale of like my family or my community or the world? Or how does this relate in the scope of a day or a week or a month or years? And let me just stop thinking about it in this tiny frame of which it's happening. So getting that day off or that lesser day of activity really gives you a chance to sit back, get that managerial bird's eye view, and you'll be able to put some bigger pieces together, on how to do certain things. So it's very important to take these days off or lesser days of activity, but also consciously get that bird's eye view. Take a mental picture of it. Let's think. How does it look in the scope of all those things widening out? Family, town, community, world. Day, week, month, how's this issue that I'm mentalizing going to play out throughout the eons? Let's make it that big. And then when you bring it back to the small, you do it perfectly. You do it magnificently because you understand the importance. So doing that lesser day, getting out of the trenches, check out the big picture. Now, this is what I was talking about with the day off. And this is what a lot of people do. I myself was guilty of this for a very long time. We work 5-6 days a week. Maybe we work more. When we finally get off, we like to do something, especially us fellas, but I know the female, I know y'all do it too. I just got to go blow off some steam. Go blowing off some steam. Go blow off some steam is a dangerous place to be. It's just like when you hit that fucking button, man, fuck it, I'm going to do this. Fuck it, I'm going to do that. Excuse my language. Don't have to slap the explicit label on this one. I hope it doesn't deny anyone this information and anything that it could do for you. But I understand that, man. I understand that, man. You want to go blow off some steam. You don't put all this time in for other people. Now you want to put time in for you, but what are you doing with your time for you? Drinking, smoking, fornicating, going to clubs, going out gambling, doing all these things that traditionally blow off steam. But once again, if you work 5 days and you do that for 2 days, then when you go back to work, it's over. First of all, it's over like that. And you feel pretty lousy. You probably spent all your money. You probably feel lousy. And it's not conducive to getting out of that system, that matrix, that slavery that so many of us are in, where we're chained to a job, we're chained to work at a place that we hate. So to be able to escape that matrix, we need to be using our days off constructively. Or if your life is your own and you're setting very diligently your routine for 5 or 6 days a week, that lesser day still needs to be focusing on what the bigger picture is. So a lot of times when we get this time off, a couple different things happen. We want to blow off steam. We're overstressed. We're overworked. And because of these things, sometimes we overseek, overconsume food, sex, drugs that we just talked about. These primal urges, they sort of just overtake us. And we've neglected ourselves and our urges all week long, or doing all these work for everyone else to live a truly amazing life, to live a life that's beneficial to you, that's beneficial to others, that's adding value to the world. But here goes the most important aspect of that. Because you're being beneficial to yourself and others, because you're adding value to the world, you're going to be happy. So we're talking about living a happy life. So to live a happy life, and once again, I'm speaking from experience. I've lived down the road of degradation. I've experienced it. I've done it. I can speak with the utmost conviction in my voice, in my heart, my soul, which is where these words are coming from, that does not work. It doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make anyone else happy. It doesn't serve any purpose. And all it brings is death, destruction, and misery. So to live that happy, purposeful, valuable life, that beneficial life to ourselves and others, a life worth living, we have to master this primal aspect of who we are. We have to deal with life now in the modern world and really get a grip on the primal urges that keep us alive. We have to reproduce, we have to eat. Well, the escaping within drugs doesn't keep us alive, but there is a serious seeking to escape for many, many folks. And it's because of this grind that a lot of us are stuck in. But if we begin to master these urges and master ourselves, you'll be out of it in no time, man. You'll be out of it in no time. And the thing is, it's pain, it's sacrifice. But what do you want out of life? What do you want out of life? Do you want your current conditions, or do you want everyday excellence? Do you want magnificence? Do you want greatness? Do you want epic achievements behind your name? I won't settle for anything less. And why should you? Why should you? I mean, I say this all the time. I'm an average Joe, man. I've been down the road, around the block. Imagine what you can do. And if you're not in this circumstance and you're financially well, your family's winning, whatever, look at your habits. Do you have any of these things that I'm talking about? Because if you do, imagine where you could be if you got them under control. So diet, I said at 4 p.m., but my really more strictly is just don't eat a few hours before bed. Everybody's different. Maybe you're getting home from work late. You can't not eat from 4 p.m. I get it. So take what works, put it in your life, twist it, tweak it. Try to not eat a few hours, like at least 2, 3, 4. The longer you can get, mark my words, do the experiment within your own life. Do it for a couple days. Really pay attention to how you're feeling when you're waking up, and I guarantee you're going to notice a difference. So diet under control, let's say 4 p.m. or a couple hours before you go to sleep. If we partake in our sexual desires, I encourage monogamy. I don't think that sex can continue to be a wonderful, masterful, magic, special thing if it's given freely. Not to say that if you're single, you shouldn't explore and find your person. And within that journey, you may delve into different circles. And as long as everyone's happy, it's perfectly okay. So I think sex is okay. I think sex is good. I think sex is healthy as long as it's conscious sex. Once again, we're not unconscious, just doing the act. We're focused in. We're in the moment. We're exchanging our energy. We're doing it in a loving, kind, caring way. And that's a way that we can move into this relaxation mode a little better. Not so forcefully, unconsciously. It's a slow, conscious, beautiful process. And in that way, I believe that, and it's also is great if it's after your last meal, because we will talk about a little bit of activity after your last meal. Definitely goes a long way for digestion. And when you lay down on an empty stomach and you're already fully processed, it's going to make the difference. And the sex may make a difference as well, if you're doing it right. So active rest, we just talked about that. And then putting on the afterburn. I call this the afterburner. So we're relaxing. We're relaxing, but we're working downhill. And we're also working downhill, meaning we did all the difficult stuff. All the difficult stuff is done. It's off the list. Anything that we accomplish moving from, let's say, after our last meal is extra credit. But I like to get a little extra credit, man. I like to squeeze in a little more self-improvement before the day is done, because you know what? I know it's going to give me the edge the next day. And I like the edge. I like being able to win. I like having an advantage over the competition. I do. And I'm going to tell you how to get it. We're going to do it right here on Creating Greatness. We do it all the time. Please tap in, man. Tap in. So the afterburners for me is video games. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm also going to give a free plug to God of War. Absolutely amazing game. Absolutely phenomenal. Best game I've ever played. I've been gaming for years and years and years. God of War, hands down, best game I've ever played. And then they just added an extension to Valhalla, and it's absolutely amazing. But what I do with God of War is I really challenge myself. I put it on the most difficult challenge. I'm testing my eyesight, my hand coordination, and my skill. I'm focusing in on everything that I'm doing while I'm doing it. And to me, that is the afterburners. It's still getting in value of something that can just be an unconscious sort of activity that has no value within your life other than entertainment, which there's places for that as well. But I really like putting on these afterburners, doing some active rest, which we're going to talk about, getting outside, walking for digestion, playing the video games for skill. Sometimes I play chess with my son. He's 7. I'm teaching him how to play. Either he's really good or I'm not very good at all. He almost legitimately set me up yesterday and put me in a trap and got my queen and almost put me in checkmate. And I was very proud of him. So that's another form of active rest. Another one is reading for fun. You know, sometimes during the day, I'm reading Jordan Peterson, or I'm reading David Goggins, or I'm reading something on the yogic science, something that's going to add value to my life. But at night, if I do read, I may read a magazine article or a fantasy novel, something, you know, some people like murder mystery and all these different things. That is an active rest, because you're not really getting value out of a murder mystery or a fantasy novel, although there are messages in between the lines, depending on who's writing the book, that you can get value from. But you are getting value in your vocabulary, in your mental acuity, in a myriad of different benefits from reading, you know. And it doesn't have to be something that's go hard self-improvement, because once again, we're tapering down the day. We move downhill, we're slowly cascading till the effort gets to nothing, to lay down on that bed at night and rest thoroughly. So yeah, man, use those afterburners. And the last thing about afterburners is the walk and the digestion, getting outside, because something that I like to do after dinner, I'm here in Southwest Florida, so obviously at 4 p.m. it's still very sunny. So I like to take my kids out from 4 to 5, maybe to 6 on a good day, and really get that exercise of just walking. I just walk around the yard and the kids play, and I'm watching them just walking around the yard slowly. And it's just, once again, it's the afterburners. It's digesting my meal. It's maybe burning off some of the calories from my meal. And also getting that late day light viewing. You know, we talked about Andrew Huberman. We talked about the Huberman Lab podcast here quite a bit. Miles and miles and miles of miraculous information. I mean, it's a wellspring of how science connects to spirituality, creativity, self-discipline. You know, it goes on and on. The guy has great knowledge, great podcast. It can be a little textbook-ish, so you really have to tone in, dial in. But if it's something that you're very interested in, you will. And then I guess my podcast isn't that much different, except when I have a guest on. So walking, aid that digestion, get you about a good half hour walking, especially in the sunlight, the late day sunlight. That's going to get your circadian rhythm set. If you did it in the morning, like we talked about on the official routine, Creating Greatness, please go back, dig in the archives, check it out. You set that circadian rhythm in the morning with that morning light viewing. You get that sun exposure, you get that vitamin D. You awaken and alive in the body. And then at night, your body recognizes the sun's going down. Once again, we're working downhill. We're doing less and less effort, less and less activity. And you're getting that light viewing at night, and it's going to help you sleep very much so. So when we get back in the house, we get back in the house and, this is a variation of different days. I don't do all these things in one day, but I wanted to really provide a multitude of topics where you could just pick through, sit through and go, yeah, maybe I'll try that in the evening. I'll try that on my day off. Maybe I'll try a day of lesser activity where I'm still have some sort of discipline, routine, or structure so that I'm not just going crazy with eating and drinking and whatever else that may happen normally on your days off. So when we move back in, obviously, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. We just got in from outside. We're all going to get washed. At this time, I like to set the tone. I like to set the mood because once again, when the afterburners are concerned, whether they're concerned or not, a lot of my greatest ideas come to me in the evening. They do, because instead of all my energy and effort being on action, I have to take action. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this other thing. A lot of the energy is now starting to rise up into, I like to look at it as coming up into my higher chakras, my heart, my truth, my insight. And that's when the ideas really get to flowing. So in order to sort of set this mood, I like to come back into some music. Right now I'm listening to a few different things. Chris Stapleton is probably one of the biggest artists that you would recognize that I'm listening to regularly. Come in, put a little Chris Stapleton on, or maybe one of the female singers that I like. I can't really think of any of them right now. I do like Lainey Wilson a little bit. What else do I listen to? Well, you guys don't care. Just once again, let me knock it off about me. I'm sorry if it ever is about me, because it's not. It's about you, man. So insert what's going to put you in that mood. Oh, just to add this, man, because I think it's worth saying, is a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't Chris Stapleton and Lainey Wilson. It was Tyrese and Tank and Teddy Swims, in that R&B, getting in the groove. And what me and the boys would do when I put on this groove was I'd run the bath and I put them in the bath. And I want to talk to you about, so now I'm really starting to set the scene. I got the music going. Maybe I burn some incense or some sage. The ideas are starting to brew. I get the boys going with the bath. And I want to talk to you now about Barbara O'Neill. Barbara O'Neill is a doctor who talks about a lot of holistic practices, a lot of natural remedies for everyday problems. And so much so that she must have went against the narrative that they must portray on all the platforms, and they banned her. But I listened to a lot of her information. She's still on YouTube, and people post her stuff. And she was talking about this detox bath, and it was a combination of 3 things. It was bentonite clay, baking soda, and Epsom salt. And I did a little research on the bentonite clay, and it's actually also used as a facial mask to purify the skin. So I do this bath as hot as I can stand it. And, I put the boys in first, get them done. And then, once they're all cleared out, then I could get back into my groove, set the bath, put the bentonite clay in, put the clay in my hand, put it on my face like a mud mask, sit in the bath for the 20 minutes while the mask is on. Once again, it's bentonite clay, BENTOTITE, I think. I could be mistaken, but you get it. Bentonite clay, baking soda, and Epsom salt. Sitting there with the hot water, got the tunes playing, the Tyrese, the Tank, the Chris Stapleton, whatever it may be, whatever your grooves are. You got the sage burn incense going. Now you're in the tub. You're feeling good. The ideas are starting to percolate. You're really starting to de-stress and calm down. And this is the thing, man. This is that self-love. So it's spending time doing things that are actually going to rejuvenate us, actually going to rest us, reset us, get us back to where we're going at it when we got to go back to work in the best possible condition, man. And once again, that detox bath is actually been a game changer for me, man. I've been doing it once a week with the kids. And sometimes when I get an opportunity to do it is during that lull in the day. Sometimes you get that lull in the action. And once again, this is what we're talking about. What do we do during the lulls? When we have lulls in the action, do we pick up the phone? You can waste 5, you can waste 10, you can waste 20 minutes, you can waste more than that without even realizing it. I'm guilty. So we need to catch ourselves right away. Now I'm not 5, 10 posts down. I go, whoa, what are you doing? Nothing on here is worth of value. You seen it, you have a couple of your friends post, you liked them, you commented, whatever. You support the people that support you. Now it's time to move on. What do we do during these lulls? Do we put on a show? Do we have a drink? Do we smoke a cigarette? Do we do anything that's actually beneficial to our lives? Let's start using these lulls in the action to reset, rejuvenate, and actually rest ourselves so that when it's game time, we're ready to show up. Also, speaking about the bath, I wanted to mention the price of it, man, because as we're moving through life, hey man, we like a little luxury, we like a little bougie, whatever you want to call it. Me and the wife, man, we certainly starting to develop some expensive habits in our middle age, or she's still very young, 31, I'm 44, so I'm what you would call middle-aged, I guess. So she's developing these expensive habits early, but there's nothing wrong with it, man. There's nothing wrong with it as long as it's done with awareness. And something that I just saw, we're actually getting ready to head back out to Phoenix. Very, very excited. I'll probably drop this episode while we're there. We're happy to be going back to Phoenix. I wouldn't have chosen it as a destination, but because her school is there and she has to go for school-related activities, hey, might as well squeeze a little life into that trip as well, infuse a little bit of energy into that trip and really make it an amazing time and make some great memories. So we're going to the Phoenix and it's going to be great. But I was looking at the spa packages because it's also just coincidentally coordinating with Valentine's Day, which is, hey man, God is good. When you do things the right way, then things just fall into place like that, man. I promise you. And it's not by any plan. It's by God's plan. It's because we collectively, and it's once again, it's going from experience. I've done wrong and seen how things go, and I've done right and I see how things go. I've experimented and I paid attention, man. And when I just continue to put the right foot in front of the other and do God's will and mention God's name everywhere I go and give him all praises due, my life goes very well, very well. So I'm checking out the spa package. Man, they had this really amazing spa package. But guess what, y'all? $550 a piece. So although I'm very much into my expensive, luxurious things, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to pay you $500 for something that I could do myself. And that's what it was. It was a scrub down with the African black soap into a hot tub and then into a cold plunge. And there were some other things involved, but that was the basis of it. And what I do when I'm in that lull, when I want to do self-love, self-care, so that I'm at my utmost best when it's game time, and I hit that tub and I put on the face mask and don't care what anybody thinks of me. You could look at me right now and think, oh, what's he doing in the tub and face mask? Damn right. When we're in Phoenix, I will be getting a manicure and pedicure with my wife right there in the spa. I'm a man's man, baby, but I ain't afraid to wear pink. And I ain't afraid to do everything that I want to do the way that I want to do it because I'm comfortable with mine, man. I was on a podcast the other day. Her name's Magda Desir, and her podcast is called Unloaded and Uncovered. And she asked me, did I feel comfortable doing yoga because it's commonly perceived as feminine? Am I good with doing yoga? Does yoga positively impact my life? Yes. Does yoga release dopamine? Yes. Does yoga make me feel better day to day? When I'm tight, when I'm hurt, when I'm sore, when my mind is all over the place, can I do yoga and feel better? Yes. Well, then guess what? I do yoga. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. When I go out to these spas with my wife and enjoy myself to the utmost, if someone were to look at me and think something about it, would I even think anything? Your opinion of me has no impact whatsoever on my life. And this is something that I really encourage folks to do. And think about what anybody thinks of you doesn't mean anything, man. It doesn't. So stop letting others' opinions of you matter in your life. Focus on what God thinks of you. Focus on what you think of you. Focus on what your family thinks of you. You do that, you're going to be all right, man. So the price of that spa treatment, $550, as compared to the price of that tub. The bentonite clay was $20 a bag. The Epsom salt was $20 a bag. You're using a portion of those bags. The hot water was a couple dollars. And then I get directly from the hot tub into my cold shower, which is what this spa package was discussing. And I get that invigorating feeling for under $20 if you're putting the price of the portion of the baking soda and this, that, and third, water and the cold water and the towel and the laundry that I got to do afterwards. I mean, that's what I mean. Moving forward in life with consciousness, awareness, not being afraid to spend if it's worth it, but also being aware that as you move to these upper echelons of life, they start trying to hit you with everything, man. They try to start hitting you with everything. And what I've learned is that you get the base package on anything, whether it's dinner, whether it's reservations, whether it's spa, you can always upgrade when you get there. They're never going to tell you can't upgrade unless it's not available. And if it wasn't available, it wasn't for you, baby. So just understand that, man. Have peace in that, man. Man, 40 minutes in, we got it done pretty quick. I feel good. Man. God bless. I love y'all, man. Thanks for listening in. I'm here for you, man. Creating Greatness Podcast at Gmail. Hit me up. I will respond. And we can talk about it. So I hope this has helped you in any way. We pick the hardest things we must do that day. We do them early. We get control of our primal urges. We have a plan. We finish strong as the day goes on. We kick on the afterburners at night to get done whatever could be done, man. Whatever could be done. And it's beneficial, once again, Andrew Huberman Lab, to decrease the light as the day goes on, i.e. the ring, the computer, the phone. And excuse me if I've been kind of all over the place. I got a new camera, but the laptop's here, so just getting used to it, man. Just getting used to it. God bless y'all. I appreciate you, man. Less light, less cell phones. Get away from the distractions. As you're working downhill, less and less and less, we're getting away from all these things more and more and more. Tasks, screens, stimulus, moving in as it gets later. Red light therapy is very beneficial. Or very low light, less light from things like this, technological lights. When you finally lay your head on that night, when you finally lay your head on your pillow at night, affirmations can be very, very beneficial. And doing a mental checklist. And the reason why we do that, first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to Alpha Affirmations. Alpha Affirmations, the best affirmations, hands down, on YouTube, man. I love that guy. Thank you so much for what you do. If you read through the comments, there's so many people in there saying how Alpha Affirmations changed their life with affirmations, man. They're not lying. They're that good. And the reason why we're doing this mental checklist and we're listening to the Alpha Affirmations is, once again, the same reason that we listen to them in the morning. Because when the brain is coming out of sleep or it's going into sleep, it switches functions. I'm not exactly sure the language of it. It's either from theta to beta or beta to theta. It's moving into a different period of activity. And at that time, it's very receptive to the subconscious. The subconscious is very receptive to suggestion. So you play these powerful affirmations in the morning when you're waking up, and then definitely again at night. Like I said, Alpha Affirmations, you have some new great ones. I've been listening to the financial one. You know, I'm trying to get that money, baby. I got the peace. I got the joy. I got the love. You know, I'm trying to put together the whole package, man. And I'm trying to help y'all put it together too. But besides the affirmations, the mental checklist is very important because it's telling you in your soul who you really are. The part of you that makes all the decisions when you're not paying attention. This is who I want to be. This is who I want to become. And when I do the mental checklist, it's sort of like wins and losses. I go, where did you win this day? What did you do good? What are you proud of? There are your wins. What did you do that you said you were going to do? Check, 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 check. Okay. Where did you lose? Did you get angry? Did you get frustrated? Did you eat something that wasn't on the plan? Did you lose your temper with one of the children? Whatever it may be, check it. It was a loss. It's a loss. It's okay, man. But I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that person. In this way, you're truly shaping and molding the person who you truly want to be. That's why, once again, the Everyday Excellence series is centered around intensity, living with intensity, vibrancy, vision, having that true, clear vision of who you are and who you want to be, and holding on to it with the strength of the gods. Because it's the only way you will accomplish it. There's so many distractions. There's so many people trying to tip you off your course. There's so many external events that will try to tip you off your course. So hold on to that vision of who you are, who you want to be, what you want your life to be like, and continually remind yourself that night when you lay down, I won here, I won there. Yes, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to be. This is how I want to behave. But here you slipped up, here you slipped up, here you slipped up. You're reinforcing that vision to your subconscious. And if you want to take it a step further, ask the universe, God, whoever you speak to at night. We always pray. We always pray. I don't want to leave that out. We pray as a family. We pray together as a family. We go around the table, or around the beds, and we put the kids to sleep and let everyone talk about what they're grateful for and what they want to pray about. And we all do that, and it's a wonderful experience. But also, when it's over, you have your private prayer. You have your public prayers, and we all have our private prayers. And in my private prayers, sometimes I ask the universe, God, to reveal things to me through my dreams. The dreams are very, very funny, very weird topic, and it's one that I don't know much about. That's why this is the end of the episode. I'm not going to continue on going down rabbit hole dreams, because I don't know, but I think that there's something to it. I think that there's clues within them. And sometimes I ask, provide me clarity through my dreams. So you make your decisions with that one. But everything else, man, I stand on. And hey, man, thanks for listening in. This is Creating Greatness Podcast.